Hey, everybody, can you hear me? Hello and welcome in. Can you hear me? Norma, Carol, April is all in. Good to have you. Can hear you. All right, thank you. Thank you, April. Appreciate that. All right, all right. Let's wait a couple of minutes. Just let whoever's going to be here be here. Thank you, Norma. Hello, DD in chat. L's in the house. Good to have you, L. So today's going to be an open chat, but I want to concentrate on the individuals that we have talked about. All right, the individuals, and I listed their names in there. And if you gotta know, if you need to know, I don't know if we're going to get to all of them, but I want to talk a little bit about any one of those open chat. So if you want to talk about Nancy Guthrie, or if you want to talk about Alina, or if you want to talk about Joanna, or if you want to talk about uh, Mallory Kinney, any one of those, or even the case in Ohio. I didn't put that in there, but the case in Ohio, we can talk about any one of the cases that we've already talked about. That's what the open chat's going to be about, those individuals. Analyze Doug is in the house. Good to have you, Analyze Doug. Appreciate you being here, my friend. All right, everybody. So I want to start off with some things on the Alina Moore case, and I know we covered that the other day. I just want to point out a couple more things. So the coroner, Margaret Fisher, who basically we were hoping would be able to tell us, hey, Bible, welcome in, we were hoping would be able to tell us how she became unalive, right? The coroner. And she stated that she could not give a time of death, but she stated it was there sometime. I don't know what the hell really there sometimes really means, in all honesty. I don't know what there sometimes means. Okay? It's there sometime a day ago, an hour ago, 2 hours ago, 48 hours ago, 72 hours. What does that really mean? Because it really doesn't say a whole lot. And you count on that coroner to give you literally at least a time of unaliving, because that tells you a lot about when this could have happened and how long she could have been there. And it may have shed some light as to who was around in that area. They could look at all the cameras. They could see like what people were around those shops. So it's very important in law enforcement that you get some timeline, even if it's your best educated guess, to give you the best educated guess on timeline, so that they can go back and look during that time frame of that, for a better lack of words, of the time she was laying there. Because they didn't find her literally until the 17th, right? And we knew she got out of the facility on the 11th. She never obviously came home because it was reported that she didn't come home by her husband. So for 5 days, we know she was out there somewhere. We just don't know when. And getting a timeline from the coroner would really help, so that you can go back and start looking at the films and seeing how everything's falling in line. You can literally narrow it down to a lot of possibilities. AJ, Norma, Analyze. In my opinion, Double Dog, the coroner was being responsible and not giving any analysis before the autopsy, toxicology, and such were complete. That's fine, but in law enforcement, that's what they're there for. They're there for to tell you. They don't have to tell you. You're not asking for them how she went ahead and became unalive. You're asking to give approximately time of the rigor mortis is setting in. You're asking about questions that she should have. So I get what you're saying, but the toxicology report really has not a whole lot of play other than what's in her system during that time. The body starts to break down at certain time periods. So for an officer, you really need that information just to kind of look at where you're actually looking for and what specific time frame. It just helps. That's what I'm saying. Bible bug activity should give a timeline. Says Bible, they told us what was excluded only. Apparently, yeah, that's what they said. What was excluded only. So that wanted to mention that because we never really talked a lot about the coroner and what her role is and what we were hoping to hear from. But nevertheless, we did get a lot of information that was there. Just nothing. We can't even move on this case until the toxicology report comes in, and that's going to show a lot of things in all different ways, means, and shapes and forms. They're going to show a lot, but it would have been nice to get at least an estimated time of guess as to when that body became unalive. That's what coroners do. That's what they do. Hands, good day, Double Dog 88. I am always thinking of double cheeseburger and wonder why, because we eat them all the time, my friend. Good to have you, Hands. Thank you for being here, my friend. And like I said, these are they're not opinions. In law enforcement, that's what you need. In law enforcement, that is what you need. So I get it. No one's saying she's irresponsible, not responsible, whatever. No one is saying anything bad about her. Just saying you really like to have that information at all possibility. Mrs. Barney is in the house. Hello, everyone. Good to have you, Mrs. Barney. Thank you for being here. Barney, hello, says L. Good to have you. Welcome in. Click that like, everybody. Click the like if you like the live. Share it out to the people that you know. This is an open chat about all these individuals that I have listed up top, also to include the Ohio case that we're looking at with the kids that were all rescued out of that one house in Vinton County, Ohio. Carol, hello, Barney. Good to have you. So now, if anybody got any questions on that, on just, dealing with Alina Moore, by all means, you can go ahead and ask away. Analyze, Doug says, Double Dog, do you think it's possible that information was given to case agents by not the public? Do you think it's possible that information was given to case agents but not the public? It's possible. That's possible. I mean, this is pretty standard, though. This is when you're talking about the approximate time of someone becoming unalive. In my line of work that I used to do, when you're talking about that type of thing, it doesn't compromise per se the case in no way, shape, or form. So, the idea that you would want to preserve that information and just give it to law enforcement, I'm not sure that really makes any sense because it really doesn't hurt. Could they have given that information? Absolutely. Could they given that information and not let compromise anything? Absolutely. That's what everybody looks for, right? Approximate time of death. However, yes, it is possible that they gave it to the law enforcement. It is very possible. But then all they have to say is, we're not giving this out information. We have a time, but we're not going to give it out because it's a part of this investigation. Anything like that would say they have an idea, that they do have an idea when she went alive. They're just not going to give it out. Doug, that's what I'm saying. And if that's the case, that's fine. But by not saying anything about it, it makes you wonder, well, do they even know? Do they even know when she became unalive? I mean, that's that would be to them like police 101 to people in law enforcement, okay? That would be 101. in my opinion. But you're right. It is possible. Sure, it's possible. Miss Barney said, hi, Norma, April. Oh, Lord, I am trying, Miss Barney and AJ. Good to have you. Shibi is in the house. Good evening, DD. Good evening, Shibi. Welcome in. A to Z is in the house. I want to talk, Nancy Guthrie. Living here, I'm tired of it. I feel DC is in rehab for protection. I hope so. I just wonder what if it wasn't actually NG who got in that Uber car? What if it was AG? Plot twist. That's very true. And that's a very possibility. That's a good point, AZ. I can understand that, no doubt. And I get what you're saying. I mean, a lot of it is just because a lot of these information points, details, and some of these things that I don't believe. Now, some would have compromised the case, but some of these don't compromise the case. It just gets people to understand what was going on at that time. Now, the idea that if it was something like that, AZ, I could see that possibly wanting them to keep that quiet. But is it a good point? Absolutely. It's a valid point, without a doubt. No doubt about it. Thank you. Bible, I can see EM possibly expiring due to natural causes. That's a very good possibility, Bible, without a doubt. And like I said, I'm not saying that anybody's bad or indifferent because they didn't give the timeline or they didn't give the time of the possibility of when she became, unalive. But it does really help. And now if they gave it to law enforcement, then hey, kudos to them. But I'm not really sure how that alone preserves the idea that would have compromised the case. You know what I mean? Because then you go back into the Nancy Guthrie case, a different case. My God, and everything there too has been debungled, if you will, and they everything is a part of the investigation. Just saying. Good point, though. Very good point. Shibi says hello, howdy to Doug, AJ, April, Miss Barney. April, what are you trying to do? Says Miss Barney. April, mod you, LOL. April and AJ, Oleg, who could look like Nancy? That's a good question. I'm sure they could find somebody to look like her with the right wig or the right hair, or the right, anything like that. It's a good point. That's a good point. That's a valid point. Well said, Oleg. AJ, thank you, April. Miss Barney, thank you, April. Doug, couldn't a timeline obscure the development of matter or manner? Couldn't the timeline? I'm not so sure. That's just a basic thing when they always give. In every case that I've ever known that they were able to give that timeline, they have given kind of like a between this hours and this hours, between 12 and 24 hours or, 36 to 48 hours or 48 to 72 hours. It's always been something that has just been done because it's just telling you when she probably became unalive. I don't think that has anything to do with the case, to be honest. In my opinion, and in things that I have dealt with, I'm not sure that has anything to do with it. Hello, Shibi, says Doug. But appreciate the question, Doug. Absolutely. Bible from A to Z. Oleg. April, DD, mod them. DD, mod them. Oh, I love it. Here shortly, we'll definitely be looking for a couple more mods to add. Absolutely. And I'm definitely looking at Doug as one of our newer mods. Absolutely. AJ and Mrs. If he's willing, AJ and Mrs. Barney are supporting and having great info, without a doubt. Doug, just trying to determine a reason for leaving out that information. Honestly, Doug, I don't really know why they would leave it out other than, you could be right. Maybe they gave it to law enforcement. But then, like anything, everything always gets leaked, right? So you give it out to law enforcement, it gets leaked out. Now what really was the saving grace there of not telling the people approximately when? Because people are want to know. Like I said, if I know that somebody somebody close to me around where I live ended up becoming unalive, I'm going to look literally at that, and I'm going to try to see like, well, who's around me, like who could have known this, that, and you know what I mean. I just think it helps. That's all. I just think it really helps. But yeah, no, I understand what you're doing, Doug. I totally agree. I understand what you mean. AZ, until we see a video or hear from Uber driver, how can we discount it being AG? We really can't, AZ. We really cannot discount it being AG. After all, Nano said they were called out on the night of the 31st to search for missing NG out of the house, horse's mouth. Well said, AZ. Well said, and that's true. That's a good point. That's a very good point. It's just one of those things where I agree with you. You know, until you can see a video that it is her getting out of that car, they have to have something. You would think. I mean, if they didn't have any, like if, for example, if they didn't have any camera that was able to get that picture from the garage door or that area because it was too dark or whatnot. Let's just say they weren't able to get it because of the angle. She had cameras inside the house, right? So there is possibilities in ways where you can pull these cameras because I guarantee you they checked every camera. They were going to take every camera so that they could go ahead and look at everything to see what was the possibility. Without a doubt. Good point there, AZ. Good point. Stacks, what's going on, yo? How are you doing, my brother? Good to see you. AZ, Stacks, Analyze, thank you, DD. I appreciate it and would accept. You got prayers, and I definitely will look at that because I really would love to have you as a mod, Doug. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I have to go into YouTube and do all that. So, yes, I appreciate that, my friend. Stacks, just hoping on what we talking about. Well, on the top, we're talking about anything in open chat dealing with Nancy Guthrie, also Elena Moore, Johanna Shields from Carlsbad. Elena Moore was from South Carolina. Okay, and then we got the Ohio situation with those kids that were taken in Ohio, and Mallory Kinney, the one from Kentucky that became unalive. Anything you want to ask about those topics is what we're really talking about. April, there's the email. Thank you so much, April. Stacks, AG Sunshine. April, PayPal, thank you so much, April. Stacks, okay, Nancy, I got it. April, there's the email. Marianne, hi everyone. I'm on my phone for now. You're good, Marianne. You're good. Miss Barney says we can't even verify that Nancy was officially kidnapped or has passed away. Technically, Mrs. Barney, you are right. Technically, you are right. The logic is she's pretty much, in my opinion, is unalive, and that is just because of the length of time, the amount of not having her medication for that time. Plus, the other big thing is the fact that the kidnappers, I believe that first and second note were legit, without a doubt, in my opinion. And in that second note, they stated, literally, with the same IP address and the same of everything, that both of those notes came from, the ransom notes. Or at least the ransom note was in the first one because they didn't ask for no ransom on the second one, but they had the same IP addresses. The idea that the same person sent those 1 and 2 to me, and they're telling you she is unalive, I think that's pretty much that speaks volume. But once again, it's because I'm believing those 2 notes are legit, in my opinion. So Did we see her? Did anybody see her? Did anybody? Well, no, of course not. No one has seen her officially. No one has seen her unalive to be able to make that claim. But there is a time factor in everything, that how law enforcement looks and the courts look at how long it's been since she has been missing or gone. And at some point, it's going to come that if there's no information, they're eventually going to say this is going to be the time of death. That's just how that works. But appreciate that question. That's a very good question, Mrs. Barney. L, hi, Marianne. L, Slab, don't know what you're asking. Stacks, what I want to see is the pacemaker data. And for good, that's a good point. It'd be nice, but I think that's going to be more tied into something. If they have something on the pacemaker that's going to show one way or the other, I can almost guarantee you that we're never going to know that information until they arrest somebody for this crime, because that pacemaker would have information that could compromise the case. Now, I'm just telling you from a perspective of law enforcement, that's exactly what you're looking at, and they would not give that information out. They would say she had a pacemaker. They would tell you, yeah, it stopped at such and such point, or it spiked here and there, but they're not going to give you the integral details that could compromise that case with that pacemaker. But you're right. That's a good point. April, YouTube.com, Devil Dog. Share it out, everybody. Share it out. Let's grow this channel like it's been growing. Let's grow it so that we can get more smarter with everybody's help. Slap, you will know what I'm talking about. If you don't know, I understand. It's okay, says Slap. You will know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, I understand. Is K. Yeah. I got too much on my mind right now to try to figure out the riddles, but okay, you got it. L, Slap, no, sorry, but thank you for joining us. Oleg, did anyone see her during the day Saturday? If you're talking, were you talking about Nancy, correct? I'm just trying to make sure we know who we're talking about here. Oleg, I'm assuming you're talking about Nancy. Did anyone see her Saturday? She came, if you're talking about Nancy, she came in Saturday at about 9:50 or so, somewhere in that time frame, PM, Tucson time, Arizona time. There's no mention of anybody seeing her other than when she was dropped off. So I'm not sure anybody's seen her if you're talking about Nancy. Slap, look at Devil's Dog title pick. You will see his pick. Okay, yeah. So your point is what? Your point is what, Slap? Please be respectful to everyone in the chat. Are you here to ask questions to know, or are you just here just to be in the way? I'm not, just don't know. There you go. Miss Barney, Ellie needs to step forward to verify some facts. They can do it without compromising the case. Disappointing. I agree, Miss Barney, 110%. I understand. I totally understand. Oleg, yes, Nancy. Thank you, Oleg. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think anybody has been identified as to seeing her that evening. AZ, Miss Barney, if she's not in protected custody or on a beach drinking Mai Tais, I totally am beginning to feel that way. Notes or no notes, SG claims she was taken out, but we don't really know. Good point, AZ. Good point. Slack, I'm here to find Nancy. Bring her. Oleg, anyone of family, says Oleg. Barney, I agree. Instead of all the word salad and circular comments Ellie is giving us. Bring Nancy home. My point. Carol, do I need to pass out cookies? Laughing out loud. No doubt about it. April, this is a chat and all opinions are welcome. Be kind and respectful. All we ask, friendly reminder. Thank you, April. Marianne, laughing out loud. Carol. All right. Carol. All right. Marianne, thank you, Carol. Carol, you welcome. No respect, no chat. One warning. Thank you. So that's the whole thing. Yes, that's a interesting perspective, and you're right. Look, there's not a whole lot out there as far as when it comes to who was the abductor. Now we do have obviously the information that came out in recent about the Kalela. Now I will note, I have heard other streamer, another streamer, very prominent and well respected streamer, who basically says what we heard on TIR, in her opinion, it's not necessarily the way she looks at it. And I get it. Everybody's going to have a different spin and a different take. But I tend to believe what TR is saying. I totally agree with that 100%. You know, so everybody's going to have a different spin, a different take, a different opinion. And that's all good because that's how everything works in life, right? Dog, bloody Hatlin needs to be looked at. Hatlin needs to be looked at in Nancy's case. I have some outlines I will share. Very interesting. Thank you so much, Doug. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. I heard that also, DD. Yeah, and I get it. And there's going to be, like I said, different spins, if you will. There's going to be different takes, if you will. Uh, but in my opinion, uh, you're always going to have that. You just try to go with what you think is the best, and you put it out there. Bloody Harlan, thank you, Doug. Appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. Yeah, I can see that absolutely, absolutely, without a doubt. So now with all this stuff that has happened with Nancy and being now going on, what are we now going on, 5 months and 7 days. It definitely is a long time. I honestly, everybody, I don't feel like she is alive. I'm just being frank and honest. I don't think she's alive. I think that case was made at the very beginning on February the 6th when they put out that information. And they did not even ask for money because I think they knew they weren't going to get no money, in my opinion. So statistically, the case of Nancy Guthrie involves a family member. But in an age of anger over mineral rights, stolen land, and retribution, the Guthrie family legacy of coal mines should not be ignored. I agree. That's a well said, Doug. I agree with that. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well point. Good point. Well made. Celtic, hey guys. Hello, Celtic Pad. Analyzed before her name became a part of highly publicized national missing persons case, Nancy Guthrie once lived in Harlan County, an interesting detail in the alarming saga currently unfolding. Got you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Doug. Harlan County. L says, hello, Celtic. Doug says families to Australia to construct Pine Gap, a classified and secretive signal intelligence hub used to monitor satellites and during the Cold War to keep an eye on the Soviet Union and China. Interesting, Doug. Very interesting. I have looked at Slap's history here. He comes back, block him mods. Sounds good. Thank you, April. Marianne, okay, April. L, thank you, April. Celtic, I already did, says Celtic bat. Carol, Burton, okay. That's a good point, Doug. Keep going with that. I like that. I like that. Laughing out loud. Thank you, Celtic, says L. I like that. So there is a lot there, and we're definitely going to have to look at that more. But the idea that did she come home? Did she not come home? The timestamps. It's a lot out there. AJ, April. Oh, it's funny. So yeah, there's a lot out there, everybody. And the idea of could it have been something with the family? I mean, I just can't take that off the table. I'll just be frank and honest. There's a reason why there are statistics. And until those statistics are proven wrong, then you can't take that off the table because then you would be going across the grain. The only way you're going to go across the grain is if you know for a fact that it wasn't that individual. And I don't think any one of us could say that, to be honest. Doug has much more interesting info. Absolutely, no doubt about it. So now, going with that, we know that there is a connection made between a lot of these people. We have talked about the connection. We have talked about the live, the intertwining from Mojito, how everybody is connected, how everybody would pretty easily, you could say, are somehow intertwined or they know each other in one way or another. April, open chat, let's talk. Let's get it, everybody. Doug, there literally was a war between the people of Harlan County versus the Guthrie family. 6 Massingale brothers perished of the 23 who died during the coal dust accident. A canary in a cave sang. Interesting. Very interesting, Doug. My Lord, you're going to make me do all this Google up. Okay. Between the people of Harlan County versus the Guthrie family. I'm going to have to do some research on that one, everybody. Thank you so much, Doug. Appreciate that info. AJ, agree, L. Doug is the man. Oleg, Charles' father and grandmothers were coal miners. Charles's father and grandfathers were coal miners. Charles's father and grandfathers were coal miners. It is called Bloody Harlan. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Doug. Bloody Harlan. LAJ 100%. Doug, you bring great info in here. We appreciate you being here. Doug is awesome, says Miss Barney. Nina, hello. Just look. Judah dog out. Judah, that dog's out. Awesome. Hello, just took Judah the dog out. Good deal, Nina. Good deal. Thank you for being here. Al, I still can't believe S was born in Australia. I had no idea, neither did I, till Marianne said something this morning. No doubt. It was very interesting. Very interesting, because I never knew that. The mining exploration eventually led to uranium in Mexico and Australia. Enriched uranium Enriched uranium is the reason we are at war with Iran. Uranium uses at that center of this, in my opinion. Interesting. That could very well be, Doug. Thank you. I'm writing these little notes down as you go along. L, hi Nina, Marianne, yes, L 1985. I didn't know that until I looked her up, but have no idea why. LOL. I mean, yeah, there's a lot there, guys. There's a lot there. But sometimes digging too much, man, we can figure out we can only stumble ourselves at times too. Sometimes it's right in front of us and it's right there smacking us upside the head and we just not seeing it. And that happens all the time, everybody, to everybody. Yes, Miss Barney, you have great theories. Thank you, says Norma. AJ, DD, and Chad, I want to say because Nancy Guthrie's family isn't going to say it, I do appreciate everyone who has been here from day one. It's exhausting, and there are us people who are truly in the it till the end, and it's mind-boggling. Well said, Az. Well said. Thank you so much, my friend. Well said. Appreciate that. AJ, Arizona, love the hearts. AZ, AJ, right back at you. AJ, Sunshine, the hearts. Amen. Well said. Well said. So, so going now, I'm gonna and we can come up to any of those topics we talked about, right? Open chat. Just like say who you're talking about so that we don't get confused. Harlan, coal is still to this day where the Guthrie's trust funds come from. Didn't Okay, interesting. Interesting. Well, Doug, Savannah's husband is in government, and so is her brother. Makes sense to me. Without a doubt, April. Well said. Barney, thank you, Norma. My brain occasionally engages laughing out loud. Interesting. Yeah, we're talking deep today. What else we got, everybody? Anything else on Nancy? Anything else going on with Nancy? Look, I know there's going to be different spins and takes on everybody, but that's just how we roll. That's how you go with it, right? Norma, you're welcome, Miss Barney, and you are doing great. Amen. Thank you for being here, Miss Barney. Now I'm going to change a little narrative here and go to Joanna Ruth Childs. She is from Carlsbad. Joanna Ruth Childs. If you guys got any questions or comments, please just make them on anybody. Just let us know who you're talking about so we can go to that. Joanna Ruth Childs. So they did find those marks, and it was bites, which surprised the hell out of me. It was bites by insects. So they did confirm that. That's one confirmation they did say. However, and I'm assuming that came from the coroner. However, there's no cause of unaliving at this moment. They're still waiting for literally the toxicology report, as well as for Marley Kinney in Kentucky. They're waiting for those toxicology reports. So it's going to be a while, folks. We're not going to, those things take a while. Oleg, Nancy has a nephew in the Air Force intelligence, her sister's child. Interesting. To find a place to write all this. Nancy. All righty. Topic is open chat cases DD has covered. Reyes. So everyone thinks Derek is involved somehow. Someone that demanded a ransom using every possible way to track him. People are gullible. That's a good opinion, Reyes. I just think that there's where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think that when you see stuff like that, you can't just ignore it. If you ignore it, then you're really asking to get burned. If you pay attention, you may not get burned and it may have nothing to do with it. The key word there is paying attention to what is being said because that's the whole key. In other words, we can assume or think or even think outside the box and say, yeah, there's possibly some connection with Derek. But if you just dismiss it completely, and there is some connection because he's the one that made that phone call, it would be crazy to put that aside and say, no, doesn't have anything. Because then when it bites you in the ass and you don't realize it until it's too late, then you're asking, God, why didn't I pay attention to it? Just saying, that's usually how things work. But good point. Totally can respect that opinion without a doubt. L, there's the Venmo account. L, if you would like to get up with DD, his email, there it is, everybody. There's my email. Ray, he made the call. I said earlier, he is involved. One way or the other, he's definitely involved because he made that call. No doubt about it. Well said, April. Miss Barney, thinking out loud, what if Nancy or someone close to Nancy knew that trouble was for Nancy and arranged a disappearance, but didn't anticipate this becoming a public mess? It's very possible. That's very possible, Miss Barney. Absolutely. Thinking out loud, what if Nancy and someone close to Nancy knew that troubles was for Nancy and arranged a disappearance, but didn't anticipate this being a public mess? Well, a public mess it is, no doubt. Well said. That's a good point, Miss Barney. Thank you. Norma, Miss Barney, anything is possible. Doug says, in my opinion, Derek is involved in the extortion, but not the kidnapping or planning of Nancy being taken. Just my opinion. Another red herring. I personally give her zero credence. Interesting. Good comment. Good point. Well, he definitely is involved with extortion because that's what they did the plea deal for. And as far as the kidnapping, the only reason I think everybody is leaning to that is because he asked for that Bitcoin, right? So, and you're right. You may be right. He may not have anything to do with this other than that extortion, trying to get that Bitcoin, trying to capitalize on someone else's demise. Totally understand that, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But I'm not going to take my eyes off of him until they have somebody in handcuffs because that's the only time we're going to know that he's not involved. More than likely, in my opinion. Well said, Doug. Marianne, he is involved because he made the call, but I really don't feel he is involved in her disappearance. That's a possibility, Marianne. Good point. Dog, Jinx. April, he also got a reduced sentence for 2 years to 20 years. How can you think he knows? How can you not think he knows something? It's a good point, April. Very good point. L, Marianne, I agree. He may know something, but I don't think he's necessarily involved directly, in my opinion. It's a good point, L. Well said. Reyes, Derek made the mistake to get involved for money, but wasn't smart enough to get away with it. That is true. Well said. That's a true point, Reyes. Thank you. Appreciate that. Doug, stop thinking like me. Doug, in my opinion, he had no information on Nancy, but Ellie is going to get what they can and use him as a CI for the DEA and drugs. And I said that earlier. That's a very good possibility. It may not be this case, but they're definitely going to use to get that information on narcotics or anything else that's going on that's illegal that he may know of. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like we're going to get something out of this one way or the other. Good point. Very good point, Doug. Norma. Norma says, Miss Barney, I strongly believe it is an inside job. This is why no one claimed the ransom. Just my opinion. Good point, Norma. Very good point. Doug says that's why he got bond and went and got high. He keeps his street credibility. That's a good point. No doubt about it, Doug. Well said. Bible, I keep wondering why would DC ask TNA if they had received the Bitcoin, as if they were the ones asking for the ransom. I'm stuck there. That's a good point, Bible. Absolutely, that's a damn good point. He's going to call A&T. Now think about this, everybody, because I know exactly where Bible's going with this one. He's going to ask A&T, literally, did you get the Bitcoin? We're ready to make that transaction. We're waiting to make that transaction. Did you? Why would he call A and T, or why would he call one A or T, and why would he text them asking them that? That's a very, very good freaking point, Bible. No doubt about it. Because here's the thing. Literally, it's not them that are providing the money. So what would make him think that they're going to be the ones giving the Bitcoin when in reality, it's Savannah? The person who the first note sent the note to was Savannah. They sent it to Savannah. And the second note was to Savannah. Think about that for a minute. So the idea that he's going to call A&T and say, hey, did you guys get the Bitcoin? Who said the Bitcoin was going to go to them? What, they were going to be the ones that were going to deposit it in the wallet? I don't think so. Matter of fact, I would hardly say I know so. That wouldn't have happened. So, Bible, that's a hell of a point because, yeah, when you say it like that, I can't see any other reason why anybody asking for the ransom that knows A&T ain't got no money, right? Everybody knows that. So why would he say that? Because the note was directed to Savannah. Savannah, go back to that. The note was directed to Savannah. The information, and everybody knows Savannah was worth the money. So why would he go ahead and text that to TNA? That's one hell of a point. No doubt about it, Bible. Thank you for that, my friend. Well said. Where is the Bitcoin? Is the call that was made to A&T. Where is the Bitcoin? That is so damn interesting because I didn't ever broke it down quite that way. But the more I think about it, what the hell is he calling A&T? Or why is he messaging A&T? What's the point? They can't get the money. How in the hell he's supposed to know? Things are not running through his channels. They're running through the channels of Savannah. That's a very good point. I like that. I like that. Way to think outside that box, Bible. Oleg, to incriminate them, Bible. There you go. To incriminate them. So he's going to ask for the Bitcoin from them to incriminate them. He's going to ask for them. No, I think he's asking for them, but I don't know. Yeah. I think that there's a lot more there because that one point is very, very deep. Why would he call TNA if they've received it? It's not coming from them. He knows it's not coming from them because he knows TNA through that music, through that one guy, Mojito, the connections. He knows what I'm sure they know each other. We all know that there has to be an affiliation because of the same manager, right? So he's going to know his stature, his living, kind of how things are going. So why would he call him when everything was sent and given to Savannah, sent to Savannah? That's a very good damn point. Very well said, Oleg. L, thank you for hitting the like and sharing, everybody. Click that likes, everybody. If you're watching and you want to be a subscriber, subscribe for free. And if you want to be a double dog investigator, please be a member. Subscribe, click likes, hit the hearts, everybody. Get those algorithms going. L, April, that is something we don't know, and I have wondered that as well. Interesting. And why won't they say who is the person that received that call? Why are everybody knows there was a call made for 9 seconds right after the message was sent, right? So let's stop there for a minute. We all know there was the message sent to A&T, and then there was a 9-second phone call. Why won't they say who that phone call was? Why? We know it existed. We just don't know, was it A or T? So why wouldn't they tell us? Because if it's T, everybody's gonna say, why would he get that call? He ain't got no money. And if it was A, they would say, oh my God, she's a part of this. Or if it's T, they would say exactly what Bible said, and that was, why are they asking them for money? Think you follow what I'm saying? That's a very damn good point, everybody. Thank you for hitting the likes. April, that's something we don't know, and I have to worry. Oleg, it made A&T look involved without a doubt. Without a doubt, it made them look involved. Without a doubt. And that's why you can't take your eyes off of that, because that's going to stay there. In my opinion, that's going to stay there until they have somebody else arrested for this crime. That's always going to be that nugget, that question, like Bible has stated, that question. Why are they calling them? Well, that was the only number that they could get a hold of. They got Savannah. You can get a hold of Savannah. Hell, you can call CBS. You can call them and see, get a hold of Savannah. You can get on her. You can get on her Instagram, send her a message on Instagram, right? She's got an Instagram channel. There's always ways. Everybody nowadays, you can find their mobile number. So what's the point? What's the holdup? Marianne, Norma, I've been saying that no one came forward for the reward because it's someone that's close to the family, without a doubt. I mean, that's what statistics say. Statistics say that's exactly what happens. By a high, he's talking 80, 90%. So if that's the case, why are we failing to keep that prize right there at that individual? Is it because we don't want to believe, as human beings, we don't want to believe that it's family, right? Man, that's too painful to believe that it's family. That's painful. But the reality is, that's one of the things that seem to be literally pointing at that direction, because that's what the information is saying, in my opinion. Normal, I've been saying that one came forward for the reward because it's someone. April, but why they could have called Savannah. But why they could have called Savannah. Savannah's got the money and everybody knows it. Doug, okay, that correspondence on phone was the second touch. And Bitcoin was already implied. Why would anyone try to get money from only family without money? Well said, Doug. Just like Bill. Absolutely. Just like Bible, I mean. Absolutely. So, okay, the correspondence on the phone was the second touch. because he called somebody, one of them on the phone, that they will not tell us who it is. And I'm thinking I'm leaning more on the Tommaso side. And the reason I'm saying that, because that would say, why are they calling him? He's not even of the immediate family. You follow me? He's not even of the immediate family, the brother and sisters, the sons and daughter of Nancy. That's probably why they're not saying anything about it, because how that would really look like. But then Doug says, why would anyone try to get money from the only family without the money? Guys, you guys are spot on. I mean, that's a very valid point and a very damn good point. Why try to get the money from the family member that you know have the least amount of money? Cameron's got worth probably 1 to 2 mil. Savannah's worth 40 plus mil. Savannah, and I mean, from what we know and what we've read, they're just struggling to get by. So why call the ones who are struggling? That's a very damn good point. And if they really wanted to do their homework, why not look it up, all those information on all the whole the housing rentals that Cameron has. Cameron has a lot of housing rentals in Tucson, right? Why not look up who owns those? Anybody can look them up. Hell, you can look it up and say, I want to rent a home or I want to rent an apartment. You can look it up. It's going to tell you who to contact, right? Sure as damn you're going to be able to contact Cameron. Why wouldn't they call him? Why wouldn't they text him and ask for that ransom? He's got more money than they do, than TNA. Very damn good point, everybody. I'm telling you, that's a solid freaking point. But why they could have called Savannah. Well said, everybody. You guys are on. You guys are on it. April, Savannah has the money and is directing the narrative. Without a doubt. She is the one. She's the one that spoke in that at that first, I think on the 5th, when she came out with her and her brother and her sister. Cameron sat next to her on the left side of her. If you're looking at them, he was on the right side. If you're looking at them, and Annie was on the left. And they both didn't say a word. They just looked like Savannah was taking over in charge. She was the one that was being the mouthpiece for the family. Why? Because she had all the goods. She had all the money that they would need. And she's the one that said, we will pay. Remember that? We will pay. All we need is a proof of life. Very well said, everybody. Lake Live, Derek knows something. Even being high as a kite, you would have to be really stupid to send a text and make the call. You just set yourself up for prison, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Well said, Lake Live. Without a doubt. And here's the thing. When he gets out of that facility, well, I don't know if it's 90 days or whatnot that he has to be there. When he gets out, don't be surprised if you hear right away that he's picked up again. A person, in my opinion, a person who has had the record that he has had in the law enforcement world, a person that has had that type of record that he has had, okay, I am here to tell you that that guy is going to make a mistake again, because that's what he does. And he has a lot of information of who he hangs around with. Okay, who he talks to, who he associates, whether it's getting his fixes, whether it's finding out who has all the fixes, the stuff that he needs, like the meth or whatever the case may be, whatever he is doing, whatever he can get a hold of. He's going to know that. And because he's going to know that, they're going to utilize him because they know he's going to make a mistake. And it's just going to up the ante. If not on this case, on a lot of other cases, but the very well question goes right back to what was said earlier. Why is he calling A&T? I'll tell you why he's calling A&T. He's calling A&T. He's calling T, probably, in my opinion, because he knows T. He knows A, but he knows T. And then you ask, why would he call Savannah? Hell, I just told you he could have called Cameron. Cameron has a hell of a lot more money. He could have called Cameron. All you had to do is put in the thing that he wanted to rent an apartment because he has all those apartment rentals, right? All those house rentals that he has in Tucson. Why not give him a call? It's easy to get his number. It's all over the phone book or on the internet. Call his company or whatever he goes by, LLC, whatever, and tell him. Why would you go to the least common denominator, the least person who's going to have the funds to pay it? Makes no sense. Well said, everybody. April ransom note were directed to Savannah, but he calls Annie. Not a chance, everybody. I'm telling you, it makes no sense. Well said, April. Norma, yes, Marianne. I have to. From the beginning, the family has not lifted a hand to find their mom. And they live there. It's their backyard. Think about that. A&T live right there in that same area of Nancy. And they're not doing anything. I mean, they're not even looking anywhere. They're not hitting their own little search group. Why? Why are they not even literally out there looking? From day one. From day one, nothing. Day one, everybody was wondering what happened, correct? Everybody was wondering what happened. Day two, there was a ransom note that was submitted, correct? There was a ransom note that was submitted on day two, okay, February the 2nd. Now think about that. February the 2nd, there was a ransom note submitted. So then why did they go looking for her at the very beginning? Because it wasn't literally, probably, I would say it was probably a little bit down the road when everybody started guessing, well, I wonder who could have done this. And names started popping. Ransom notes were being sent. On the 4th, a phone call was made to A and or T, and messages were sent to A and T. Why? You just got to follow the evidence, folks. You got to follow it, and you guys are spot on what you're saying. Bible, Lake Fire, he was so high that he made those calls, giving himself away. There's always a slip up somewhere. Absolutely. Without a doubt. Well said, Bible. There's always one thing you don't calculate for. There's always something that you don't calculate for. At this point, that something could have been just what Bible said, or that something could have been that she became unalive, and you didn't calculate that. And you had no plans for what was next. And you were like, oh, shit, what do I do now? I didn't plan she was going to go ahead and become unalive. And now you're scrambling, trying to make everything make sense. But see, all that happened after the call and the messages were sent, not before. They were done earlier than all this stuff happened. Think about that for a minute, everybody. All these people are trying to make money in taking off this poor woman, in the taking of this poor woman by writing fake notes. Terrible, in my opinion, without a doubt. Doug says first ransom note was February the 2nd. Derek was February the 4th. Absolutely. And what was supposed to be February the 5th? What was supposed to be February the 5th, everybody? February the 5th is when they were supposed to get the first $4 million, and if not, it was going to go to February 9th, and it was going to cost them $6 million. And then the people who called in, or not called in, who sent that second note, sent it on the 6th. They didn't even wait for that money to be deposited. They just said, you know what? She's done. She's unalive. Buried her with nature, and all that poetic crap that they wrote. Think about that for a minute. can't make this up, guys. You can only go, and ladies, you can only go with what you see. Marianne, thank you, Doug. Norma, 1985, exactly. Well said. Thank you. Sam, hey guys, hi, 85. Sam is in the house, everybody. Norma, it is so sad. Without a doubt, Lake could be Bible. April, I am buffed, but knowing a call was made to a family member to ask for Bitcoin when ransom notes were asking for Bitcoin is suspicious as hell to me, in my opinion. Without a doubt. Well said. Well said, April. L. Hi there, Sam. Good to see you, says L. Lake Live says this case has so many possible suspects, it makes my brain hurt. Well said. Miss Barney, who's on first? What's on second? And I don't know is on third. Yeah, that's what about this case is looking like, Miss Barney. No doubt. Well said. Norma, 1985. Yes, it is. L, agree, Lake Fire. And sometimes I get them confused. Lake Fire says if they ever catch who is responsible for it, goes to trial, I'd love to be there just to tell them what cowards they are to go after an 84-year-old woman. Without a doubt. Well said, Lake Life. Well said. It's a different Cameron, says Oleg. It's a different Cameron. It's a Cameron, not Nancy's Cameron. Got you. Okay, Oleg. Very possible. Expand on that, Oleg. Expand on us. Please give us some more information. April, sick of Nano saying not related to Nancy every lead we get. Without a doubt. Well said, April. Norma, the way I see it, no one has been cleared till Nancy is found either way. Without a doubt, Norma. Well said. Sam, Camera would go after an unalive kidnappers if they called him. He is military, Air Force. Good point, Sam. Good point. But look, if you're not expecting to ever meet Cameron, you're only expecting for Bitcoin to be dropped in a wallet, you're never going to meet, right, Sam? You're never going to meet Cameron because the fact is it's going to a Bitcoin wallet. That conversation of you and I meeting is never going to happen. And that's another point to look at. Doug says, let's not forget, Derek has a pattern of his type of extortion activity. It is not an isolated incident. Well said. Well said, Doug. This has been tried before, to my understanding. Without a doubt, that's the pattern you see. So why all of a sudden it doesn't fit? Absolutely it fits. The narrative fits. I'm not saying he didn't, and I'm not saying he's involved, but he is involved because he made that damn call to somebody who has no money. He could have called the other two siblings who had the money, but instead he calls the one that has no money. Like, what made him think that they were going to say, oh, yeah, we got the money. We're going to put it in right now. Think about that for a minute. You are Kalela on the phone. In 9 seconds, you are asking, hey, more than likely, this is me summarizing. It's not me saying this happened. I'm just giving you my opinion. Hey, did you get the Bitcoin? Why are you calling me? Did you get the Bitcoin? No. Don't call me again. 9 seconds. 9.5 seconds is what we timed it at. That makes perfect sense to me. Hey, we're ready to make that. Did you get my message? We're ready to make that transaction. So we're ready to go whenever you guys are ready to go. Okay, well, have a nice day. Really? Or do you think this sounds better? Hey, did you get my message? Why are you calling me? Did you get the Bitcoin? No, don't call me again. I'm just saying, sometimes you play it in your mind over and over and over. Some things sound better than others, in my opinion. L, agree, Norma. Sam, not if protecting his family, in my opinion. Lake, Norma, unfortunately, they may never find Nancy, especially if she was thrown in the desert to the animals. It makes me sick. Or if she was cremated. Very possible. April, the Nanos effect is frustrating as heck. Carol, still here, just listening. No problem, Carol. Thank you for being here. Marianne, Carol, Marianne, did I hear right that they are now saying it's a nobody homicide? That's what I heard earlier today. Someone had said that it's a nobody homicide. A nobody homicide. So they're going to look at building a case, possibly because they don't have a body and they probably think they're not going to get a body. So I can see them literally trying to go ahead and build a case without a body. That can be done. Takes a lot, but it can be done. Sam DC connected for sure. No alternative email provided. Do he is in with real kidnappers somehow, whether they put him to make the call or direct connection. His record sealed, light sentence for a reason. Well said, Sam. Well said, my friend. Late, exactly, Doug. Almost 10 grand fraudulently taken from unemployment. Almost 10 grand taken from unemployment. Nina, they need to look where I said, Dee Dee. My accuracy, gifts through Holy Spirit, random visions are used in Ontario by police. Police prove true. You're saying that in the garage of Nancy, there is a bunker or a basement of some sort. Is that what I'm hearing, Nina? Lake, that's what I heard, Marianne. Norma, yes, Lake, possible, but I still keep my faith and hope she will be found eventually, one way or another. I think he's connected as well, Sam. I don't know if it's directly or not, but I think he knows something at a minimum, in my opinion. Not a way he doesn't know something. That's a good point, L. April, click that likes, everybody. Click that like, send the emojis. Let's get it. Let's build this channel, everybody. Lake, is A&T neighbor think about that? April, Luke is A&T's neighbor. Think about that. It's a very good point, April. Very damn good point. Luke and A&T are neighbors. I mean, you can't make this shit up, everybody. And the way he gave his press interview, there's a reason why he was scared shitless and trying to prove his innocence. And instead, he just made himself look more incriminating, in my opinion. Marianne, thank you, Lake Life. I thought I was going crazy. Sam agreed, 185. L85. He knows something and likely traded it for a lighter sentence. Kimmy's in the house. They called A&T because T is the power of attorney. They called T and A because T is the power of attorney. Yeah, but that money cannot be touched. So that money, they had to have known that money wasn't coming from her estate or it wasn't coming from A&T. It was literally coming from Savannah. They had to have known that. Look, it's somewhere down the line, in my opinion, guys and ladies, somewhere down the line, they had to have known Savannah had the money, right? Point blank, Savannah had the money. They had to have known that, without a doubt. Because if they did the homework, it wasn't that Nancy was full of money. It was that her daughter had lots of money and she could pay, right? Savannah had the money, and that's what everybody knew. No one really would take Savannah out of the equation. This 84-year-old lady is going to get kidnapped because you're going to try to get A&T to pay. Really? That just doesn't seem logical. Now you do your homework and you say, if she gets kidnapped, they don't have no money. But I know that her daughter in New York is worth 40, probably $15 million. We can get them to pay. It's something to think about. Well said, though. Good point, Kimmy. Good point. No doubt about it. Lake, why isn't Savannah spending millions to find her mom? Just all that makes me think it could be a setup to get her out of town, says Lake. Kimmy, hello everyone, and DD. Good to have you, Kimmy. Welcome in, my friend. Thank you for being here. Annie, late again, but you're here, Annie, and that's all that matters. First deadline for 4 mil. First deadline for 4 mil was on the 5th of February. He calls on the 4th. Or he texts first, and then 3 minutes later makes a 9-second phone call because he probably didn't hear anything back. Because I'm sure Tommaso was like, what the hell is he telling me this for? Think about that. You're Tommaso, and you have your phone. And all of a sudden you get a buzz. You and your wife get a buzz. And you look at it and you go, what? Why is he calling me asking me for money? No fucking money. Who is it? Huh? I could just see that expression on his face going, what? Really? I could see that. I'm telling you, I could see that. Not literally, but I can picture it in my mind. I'm bouncing out for a while. You got it, Miss Marnie. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Thank you for everything you bring to the table. Please click like and subscribe, everybody. It is free. Be a member in the Devil Pup family. Norma, great theories and thoughts, Dee. And beautiful chat. Gotta go, everyone. Have a beautiful blessing evening. See you all in the morning. You got it, Norma. Have a good one. God bless. Kimmy. Yes. Sam. But even if they unalive her, right? Savannah said proof of life or watch any mafia movie cut off pinky finger. Drop it in the mail. Say, if not paid, worse will happen. Wonder why they didn't try this. Honestly, I just think that in their mind, literally, they gave the only details they needed to give. You either pay $4 million by the 5th or $6 million by the 9th. They missed the payment on the 4th, so they knew they had till the 9th to make a decision. And then all of a sudden they get another message sent on the 6th saying she's unalive. Sorry, didn't mean it to go this way. That was not in the plans. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but some of those things I'm saying are exactly what was in there. She was buried with nature. Sorry. She was buried with nature. Yes. Think about that for a minute. Good point, though, Sam. Good point. L, Barney, take care. L, Annie, hello, and good to see ya. Lake. And we can't forget about the Iranian lady, TA. Her name was over the feds. It's being taken around to the gun shops. Is that Abanasi? She's an electrical engineer, so has the knowledge to disrupt power, mess with Wi-Fi. I think that was the Abanasi, right? The Abanasi lady. Kimmy, hi, good to see you. Reyes, what we'll have is a few creeps coming out the woodwork, sending emails and notes that have nothing to do with it. They're committing their own crime. Well, here's the problem with that, Reyes. Look, I'm just going to be frank and honest. In my opinion, I don't think, and I think everybody would agree, that DC is not the brightest individual or the smartest for that, or the sharpest tool in the shed, whatever analogy you want to use, that's exactly what it is. So he's going to go ahead when this ransom comes out on the 2nd. he's going to come out 2 days later and plan this all out spontaneously without even thinking, just going to go ahead and say, yeah, I'm going to set up a ransom. Yeah, I know that lady. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and send this and this and this and this in. I just find that hard. I mean, is it possible? Sure. I just find it very hard that that's how it happened, in my opinion. 2 days later, and he has a plan already how he's going to capitalize. Now, you tell me maybe a week, 2 weeks, a month down the road, and he wants to be one of those ones that are just trying to literally make money off someone else's demise. I get it. But literally 2 days have gone by and he already has a scheme plan. He ain't that smart. I don't think so. Lake, true. Lake fire, she would also have knowledge to disrupt the pacemaker. Oleg, the properties that say Cameron owns, he don't. It's in a different Cameron. Got you. April, Ray, why was DC the only one charged, though? 12 ransom notes were sent. That's what Brian Hinton said. Or I'm sorry, that's what, not Brian Hinton, excuse me. That's what TMZ said. Harvey Levin. Yes. There were approximately 12 more notes were sent. But we don't even know what the hell they say. And to be honest, the first note and the second note, we don't have the complete, everything complete. They just added that information. Okay, they added that information on the first and the second note. But that's not all that's in that note. There's more stuff in that note. That's not a complete note. So we don't really know what else was said in those notes. And if somebody asks, well, how can you say that? We don't know that because we didn't know that they didn't have this other information that they just released 2 weeks ago. We thought that was the end of the note, only to find out it wasn't. I'm just saying. April, Ray, why is DC the only charge? Random knows, Marianne, they just search any garage or land if it is private. April 12, Annie, 1985, High Lake Fire, Lake Life says, plus the suspect dude that showed up asking 857 if he was TMZ. What national is he? I'm going to say he's Middle Eastern. I don't know. He could be from Jordan, could be from, I'm just going to say the Middle East, is my opinion. Because we did a thing on that too as well, and that's what it looked like to me. Bible, Sam, are you talking about the tough Cameron who was remained silent, laughing out loud? Says Bible. Hell, appreciate everyone being with us. Please hit the like, share the stream, subscribe if you haven't. Let's get it, everybody. Click the likes, click the emojis. Let's get that algorithm going. Doug says, does anyone believe a drug addict wouldn't take money or jewels or anything and be okay with it? Just thinking Nancy and gulping for the best and hoping for the best. Big fish may be, but highly unlikely in my opinion. Well said, Doug. Well said. In my opinion, Derek, just another red herring and a distraction. I personally have moved on from his dumb ass. That's a good point. That's a good point for you. No doubt about it. No doubt about it, Doug. Sam, Bible, 101 military people can be very, very quiet and kill more people than you got hair on your head. Had a friend who was in NAM, kill hundreds of people. He was anti-gun, freaked out by cap guns. Well said, Sam. AZ, A, and T, they have been hiding their faces. Why would you not proclaim your innocence and be out there? It's your mom, for F's sake. These people haven't done nothing poopy except cover up, in my opinion, and look at A's disconnect in videos. Nina, yesterday, she is in a garage underground bunker. And I think someone looked at it and said that Nancy's house did not have a bunker. Nina, what say you? If she doesn't have a bunker, then where do we go from there on the house? Nina, Marianne, you can just go into someone's garage and house and consider it private property without a doubt, Marianne. Nina, I never report to the FBI police unless I know God is speaking to me. I have solved crimes in Ontario. Holy Spirit shows me I am gifted, Dee Dee. I believe you. I believe you wholeheartedly, Nina. What I'm saying is, it is reported that they don't have a bunker in that house, right? So if they don't have a bunker in the house, where does that take us? I believe what you're telling me. I have no reason not to believe you. But what I'm saying is, where do we go from there if they're telling us there is no bunker there that was built there on that house? LAZ, and they were not even at DC's hearing, which I guess would be surprising, but it's just not. Understand, I would have been there. Says L. Well said, L. Lake, live. If family knows there's a bunker under the garage, I would think it would have been searched. They've been there since the 70s, says Lake. Nina, I am a Christian believer in Jesus. He uses me. 18 years in Ontario with police. Nina, I believe you wholeheartedly. No doubt about it. I do believe you. The only thing I'm saying is, if it's not there at that house, where does that take us from there? That's what I'm asking. Because I believe your intentions are right, but my point is, if there is no bunker there, where do we go from there? Annie, think about it, Kalela, and dope, and don't look that smart. Without a doubt, Annie, well said. Lake, I would think they would know if a bunker existed there. Nina, I am not psychic. I am gifted by God only. I get it, Nina. I believe you. Honestly, I do believe you. The problem is there is no bunker there. So where do we go from there? That's the question I'm having. Sam, did you guys watch 857 live? If DC's going to court, guy on bike, yes, heavy jacket, jeans, gloves, face mask, and a huge sombrero, and said, buy Bitcoin, stop talk. To 857, he had a jacket 100% degree, very odd. Yeah, we all seen that individual without a doubt. Without a doubt. L, Lakefire, 100%, and to my knowledge, there isn't one. Marianne, there's no bunker or basement in Nancy's house. Says Marianne, thank you, Marianne. Lake, yes, there was strange. Yes, that was strange, Sam. Sam, yes, that was very strange and didn't seem like a coincidence. Not when they were asking for Bitcoin. April, but bunkers are in the neighborhood, Marianne. Marianne, yes, Sam. I was watching 857. I even asked if he was a friend of DC's. Blake, there are some houses with bunkers in the neighborhood. I've seen pics of 3. April, hell, at this point, A&T could have a bunker. Marianne, yes, I know, April. Someone mentioned Nancy's house. Nina, the address 5755 East 7th Street, Tucson. Is most likely where Nancy's underground. Her home, I was in question. The vehicles were seen at the address. SUV, blue car. The vision is accurate from God. Thank you for that, Nina. I appreciate that, my friend. Lake, April, Annie, April, I heard they have a bunker. April says, I heard they have a bunker. Who, Annie? Marianne, if you have info, call the FBI. Marianne, Nina, it's hard being Holy Spirit, God gifted. People are so hard on me. I solve crimes in Ontario, missing Tory years ago, and others. Once again, we just got to know where we go from here. Because if they're saying there is no bunker there, I mean, unless they did maybe unless they digged a hole or something, or they did a bunker recently, or they did a basement recently. I'm not sure how we go about that, to be honest. Any, but good point. I appreciate your info. Any April left me rephrase that. I saw on the channels in the beginning that Annie has a bunker. Got you, Annie. Thank you. Nina, Annie does. She has a bunker for sure. Nina, these bunkers need searching for sure. God does not lie. I believe in Nancy Guthrie is no farther than 25-minute drive from her home or less. Good point, Nina. Good point. L. There is no credible public information or evidence indicating that A and T have an underground bunker in their Tucson, Arizona home. What I got from a search. Oleg, property records say no bunker or attic. Deb, that is a lot of notes. These notes seem like scammers from out of the country. Very possible, Deb. April L was L. That was a joke about the bunker. LOL. Marianne, I just looked it up. 1985. Annie, Bruno, I'll be in B. Kimmy, they said the bunker was in the casita. Interesting. Interesting. Does anybody know if the casita has a bunker? Maybe. What about the bunker in the casita? Says Kimmy. Marianne, who said it? April. Okay, from what I've read, there aren't many in the area in general, says Al. Annie Bruno. In beginning, they said there was a secret room in her house. Marianne, and don't you think there was a bunker they would have searched it? I would think they would have searched it. That's definitely would have been probably the first thing, in my opinion. April, I just said I would believe anything at this point. Lake Life, I'd really like to know if they have checked all the septic systems in all the empty houses in the neighborhood. That's a good point. It's a good point. April, nothing would really be surprising at this point. Kimmy, a bunker is not going to be shown to the bare eyes. That's why it is a bunker, so you can hide. Very interesting. Good point, Kimmy. Good point. L, right, Marianne. April, I read SE has one, but maybe fake news. Yeah, that could be possible. Lake, a septic system would return a body back to nature. Well said. Well said. Devs, are bunkers in Arizona a common thing? A bunker was mentioned early on in the investigation by someone. Doug says we don't know where is bunkers in Tucson from the Titan nuclear silos built in the 70s, but both A&T and Nancy does not have these bunkers built afterwards. What the F? Annie 8087, when Jew started talking about septic, Sue Ellen threw the mess over they wanted the YouTubers out real quick. That's a good point. Hell, if there is a bunker, they would have searched it, in my opinion, like Marianne said. Nina, yes, Kim, it's the best place to hide someone for motive reasons. A pace maker cannot be located underground. Well said, Nina. Lake, people had bunkers built during the wars, so people do have them. Says Lake, Annie, bunker at Annie's house. Still think they need to thoroughly investigate neighborhood properties. That would be nice, no doubt. Lake, Annie, that's not suspicious at all. Nina, if Annie has a bunker, it should be considered and reported ASAP. It would explain so many suspicious for suspects. Please hit the like, everyone. Click that like. Hit the algorithms going, everybody. Click the hearts. Do that for me, please. I can't see if you guys are doing it or not, but please hit the likes. Annie 8087, that's your thought. Nina, they may not be aware of all bunkers. Marianne, if someone feels they have it, please call the FBI. Nina, consultant, says JR ridded bunkers from bomb shelters years ago. Sims Jr. redid bunkers from bomb shelters years ago. Thank you, Nina. Yeah, I think you sent me that information in April. We don't even know if to search the septic's laughing out loud. So how would we know if they searched the bunkers? Late. Why did family ask neighbors and friends not to talk about any of this? It's a good point. Marianne, true, April. Kimmy, I agree, Nina. Yeah, it just don't make sense, everybody. No doubt. No doubt. So now we have literally that. Very well said. Doug, Nina, can you elaborate on Sims Jr.? Who are you insinuating is responsible? I know who it is by. Want to hear your response. Nina, can you elaborate on Sims Jr.? Who are you insinuating is responsible? I know who it is by. Want to hear your response. Reyes, a lot of speculation and no facts. Yeah, well, if you don't have any conversation, you have nothing, right? Nothing. So in order to get some facts, sometimes you have to take some credible or some very specific details and check them and see if they're actually factual. Then you can take a good detail. If it's good, you can take a detail, and if you can confirm that detail, depending on what they're asking, you can make it into a fact. John Sims found bomb shelters. His son Sims Jr. redid the bunkers, is what Nina said. Devs, I think there's a lot of rumors going around. We haven't gained much info in 5 months. So frustrating. Continued prayers for the Guthrie family, says Deb Briggs. Hell, have a good night. Lake Life. Lake Life, you too, 1985. Kimmy, good night, Lake Life. Interesting. So I want to talk a little bit, put this under the microscope here. If you guys want to come up and answer some more questions, you're more than welcome. More than welcome. So I wanted to give you a little bit of details on the Ohio case of the 16 kids that were taken. I'm going to give you some information. Elizabeth Siders, she is 33 years old. Elizabeth Siders, she is the mom of those kids. Okay. Does Sim Jr. have an alias? Says L. Dev, so true in my opinion. So John Sims Jr. Doug says, so John Sims Jr. Dev, so true in my opinion. Does Sims Jr. have an alias? Anybody's got that info, please give it. So get this, everybody. Elizabeth Siders gave birth to conjoined twin girls at Riverside Methodist Hospital in Columbus, Ohio. Both of them ended up unaliving at birth. Their names were Bailey Lee and Faith Lee Siders. So they had conjoining twins that didn't make it at one point. Nina says, John Sims found bomb shelters. Sims rebuilt it. The address suspect's vehicle were seen, so puzzle fits. Underground bunkers. April, facts are DC accepted a plea deal from 20 years to 2. Fact is Kayla Day got a reduced sentence for a gun charge, gets out in a couple months. Fact is Luke Daly got swatted. Fact is DC calling ANT. Yeah, I mean they're all facts. All of that is facts. No doubt. April absolutely says L. Interesting. Interesting. Click that like, everybody. Click that like. Let's get that algorithm going. Doug says, April, all facts except Kayla Day is still in prison. That is true. Kayla Day is still in prison, without a doubt. Elle says, but Nina, I'm curious. Does Sim Jr. have an alias? Nina says, yes, he has aliases. Well, let us know if you do you know who the aliases are? The names, can you give it to us, Nina? Doug says, sorry, April, missed your comment. Marianne, yes, KD is in prison, but got a lighter sentence, without a doubt. She got a big time, especially having such a big jacket. She got away with so much before they finally issued this sentence and then made it lighter, which makes no sense. Nina, do you got the names of those aliases? Where are we at, everybody? All right. Hell, thinking. So, going back to the Ohio kids, and if you guys put stuff, I'll keep reading. What are you eating, DD? The Goobers. The Goobers, Marianne. Allison Sims is a relative. Katie probably blew in DC. Katie probably blew in DC. Now they go up the food chain. Very possible, everybody. Sam, KD probably blew it in DC. Now they're going up the food chain. Share with me. There you go, Marianne. Enjoy, my friend. Laughing out loud. Guys, I'm really wanting to talk a little bit about this Ohio case because it's very interesting. But hey, if you guys got a question on that, let me know. If not, I'm going to keep reading. If I see something pop up on any subject that we've covered, I'll be more than happy to talk about it. Al says, Nina, does Sims Jr. go by another name? Marianne, okay, that isn't an alias, laughing out loud. Doug, yes, Ohio 16, let's go. Marianne, right, Marianne, laughing out loud. Marianne, thank you, Dee. You're very welcome. So these kids, these 16 kids, they went, you guys know the story, they went to the house, serve a warrant to set to where did I have it written? They went to the house to serve a warrant on Gary Siders Jr., 36. Instead, they found 16 kids that were living in horrible conditions. We all know the story, I think. I'm trying to get you to giggle. Oh, stop it, Marianne. So they found 16 kids. Most of them lived in one 12 by 10 room. Literally, one room for 4 years. Now, that doesn't mean that they didn't go outside or I'm not going to say that means that they didn't really communicate or anything or like play in the rest of the house, but they were confined to that room. That was the room they were spending majority of their time and day in a room 12 by 10. Too many. Nina says John Sims Jr. So now they're in there for basically, when I say they're in there for 4 years, it's not like they didn't come out, but it's where they spend most of their time in human feces and whatnot. The children who never went, these children never went to school and they could barely even communicate. Think of that for a minute. These are the 16 in Ohio that were rescued in Vinton County, Ohio. Some can't even speak at all. Think about that for a minute, everybody. Focus, 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 Danielson, focus. Some cannot even speak at all. The oldest child is 18, and she can't write her name. She's developmental disabled. L, okay, Nina, thank you, says L. Now, 2 were airlifted to the trauma centers, and 1 was needed to be intubated. I'm not sure if they mean incubated or not, but they spelled it intubated. I think it might be incubated, according to the officials. Think about that for a minute. 2 were sent to life flight. 1 needed to be incubated. This is out of the 16 kids that were taken from Vinton County, Ohio, in the house that they all were in, lived predominantly in one room. You're talking about, I would say, probably 14 to 16 kids lived in that room, in all feces and garbage and everything. That is insane. Now, here's some new information. Ronnie Fletcher, he is married to one of the adult daughters. Okay? Ronnie Fletcher is married through one of the adult daughters. So they were, Oleg says, so they were not on any official authorities less than they didn't exist to be to the outside world. That is correct, Oleg. That is correct. So Ronnie Fletcher, who is married to one of the adult daughters of this family, the Sider family, they knew they had a large family, but they said, now these are family related to them. They said they thought it was only 10 kids that they had, but they didn't realize it was 16. Not that 10 is not a lot, because it is a lot, but 16 is even more. Ronnie Fletcher also stated that it left the family horrified. So apparently they're saying that they did not know about really how bad it really was. I don't know how you don't know, but that's what they said. Nina says, I just was eating jelly chocolate chips. Woohoo, hot. This case is getting a lot of traction, in my opinion. Makes you wonder how often things like this are going on. Without a doubt, well said, Al. Oleg, this is a family tree. It must do. Now get this: Kayla Day released Doug in September. Kayla Day is released in September. It says April. So Ronnie is the one who married one of the daughters, and he's saying basically that they didn't know it was this bad. That it was bad, but they didn't know it was this bad, and they were horrified. Now Elizabeth Sider, she's 33 years old. Okay, think about this for a minute, everybody. Wrap your head around this. She's 33 years old. She married Gary Sider Jr. when she was 15. When she was 15, that's when Gary Sider Jr. married her. Now, know that at that time when she was 15, he was only 18. He's only 3 years older than her. Okay. But at 15, they got married. There are houses like this in every community, and government usually doesn't step in. Hot mess. I know family of 14 in 2-bedroom apartment. It's crazy. Oh, like how old was she when she had the first child? Well, we're going to get to that. Gary Sider was 36. That's who married Elizabeth Sider. Christian Lynn Sider was 67. That is the grandmother. And Gary Sider Sr., he was 73. That's the grandma and grandpa, or the mom and dad of these people. Their children ages. Okay? Ready for this? 1 years of age. They were twins. Where is the other 3M missing children? 1 year, 1.5 years of age, they were twins. Okay. 2 years of age, they also had twins. So they had twins that are one age. They had twins that were 2 ages. But even more than that, they had 4-year-olds that were also twins. So they got 3 sets of twins, 4, 2, and 1. That's 6 kids right there alone. 4, 2, and 1. And they have twins. So that's 6 right there. Unbelievable. 3 sets of twins. You got that right, Doug. 3 sets of twins. A set of twins of 1.5-year-olds, or 1-year-old, 2-year-olds, and 4-year-olds. Right. Those are 6. Then you have a 5-year-old, 1. Nina, analyze. I'm not saying Sims is suspect. I'm saying the bunkers redid are being used by suspects. Got you, Nina. They have a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 16-year-old. Wrap your head around that one. Did you just hear me correctly? These kids that were taken from this home, that were rescued from this home, living in feces in a 12 by 10 room for a majority of their lives, living in feces and trash, malnourished and whatnot. Okay? They had 1-year-olds that were twins, 2-year-olds that were twins, and 4-year-olds that were twins. They had a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, and an 18-year-old with disability or developmental disabilities. And that is your 16 total right there. Unbelievable. Sam, it is unfortunate like that. In a lot of the U.S., cost of living has gotten outrageous, without a doubt. Think about that, everybody. Can you even comprehend what I just said? Think about that. All the defendants have pleaded not guilty. That's the dad and the mom, and the grandpa and the grandma. They have all pleaded not guilty to 16 counts of child endangerment. When the judge set the bail, he set it at 300,000 for each one of the suspects. Each one, 300,000. So you know they're not getting out. Al says those poor children. Doug says there is 21 kids and dog 16 in house. 2 died at birth. Yes, 2 did die at birth, and I covered that earlier. They were twins. They were called. Their names actually were. They were. Two died at death, and they were called Bailey Lee and Faith Lee Siders. Those are the 2 that were at birth. They died in Columbus, Ohio, at the Riverside Methodist Hospital. Unbelievable. So 2 that passed away, they have 16. 2 that passed away would have made it 18. And then the 4 adults. That's all I've read. Birth are the other 3. I don't know about the other 3. Those are the only ones that I know that existed. So every year they had a kid. Unreal, says Marianne. Yeah, every year. Unbelievable. Sam, L85. What did they do? It's tax caps. In states like New York, California, and Portland, and Arizona, mostly them states, they triple people home assessments, so their taxes skyrocket. People can't afford to end up on streets, says Sam. Well said. Nina, Nancy Guthrie case, possible suspects, Emmanuel Ahmed Avalos, Zelaya. All right, everybody. Nina just put something in here. I know we were on the other one, but Nina just put Nancy Guthrie's case, possible suspects. Emmanuel Ahmed Avalos. That's all one name. Zelaya. Sims, Alicia Sims. Alicia Sims. Cartel. Crouch. Uber Girl. Match in question suspects. There you go. That's what Nina just posted. Marianne, call the FBI if you have a tip. Sam is so ridiculous and sad, in my opinion. Doug, Elizabeth's brother told Ellie there was actually 21 kids. We know about 18. Where's the other 3? There's still 3 missing, and that's all I'm saying, according to family Liz Siders. Right. And I just watched a thing, and this is the only people that I got. The 16 plus the two that died is 18. I don't know about the other three. They haven't talked about them or they didn't bring them up. But where I looked at the information, let me see if I can find it here. Um, let me see if I can find it here. Let me see. Is this the one? Hang on, I'm looking real quick. She did not have a very good home life when they got together, and she escaped to Lynn Christian and Gary's house, which was back at the normal American home. He said the couple's oldest child is 18 years old, reported born with months after they tied the knot. Court records show that the other children, ages 16, 15, 14, 13, 11, 10, 8, 6, and 5, along with 4-year-old twins, 2-year-old twins, and 1-year-old twins. That's the only kids that they mentioned. And then they got 16 counts of child endangerment. So that's what we have. That's the only thing that I have. What is crazy? The government is records of all these children births. You would think a child protective work would at least popped in time to time, checking conditions before they got to this, without a doubt. L. Doug, well, that makes even more disturbing. L. Sam, right, and they have been in school now. They have not been in school. How was that not flagged somehow? Marianne, what made them go to the house after this time? It was that they were going to serve Sider Jr., the husband, Gary Sider Jr. They were going to serve him with a warrant for public indecency. And they heard noise in the house, and that's when they discovered all these kids, Marianne. That's what pisses me off, says Sam. I know good parents with kids with cancer, missed few days school. They want to lock up parents. 21 kids not one day in school, and no one in government knows anything. Well said, Sam. Oleg, it was searched from something else, Marion, maybe not connected to them. Oleg, this was uncovered by chance. That is correct. L, Sam, exactly. They get involved often when there is no need to be and not where they need to be, in my opinion, without a doubt. Marianne, sorry I missed that part. No, you're good. And here's the other thing. If each one of these adults are found guilty, the maximum sentence for all of them each is 192 years. Think about that for a minute. Because there's 16 counts of child endangerment of each one. 16 counts. That's 100, and maximum is 192 years. You can't make this shit up, everybody. They had family, extended family, but they didn't know that it was this bad, they said. All right. Initial search warrant was 4 accusations of non-family, saying Gary Jr. exposed himself. Says Doug. They just worded it the way I had it. That's how they worded it down in that. But yeah, very, very possible. I'm sure that's all within the same parameters. Hell, seems pretty straightforward. The case does. I don't think there's a way there wouldn't be found guilty, without a doubt. I don't know how you could be not found guilty. I probably missed this topic, but were all the kids? Where are all the kids in the custody of the state? Of course, a lot of them are still at the hospital. I'm sure the ones that incubated and the ones that were metaflighted, I'm sure they're still there as well. But they're not going with the family. And I don't think they're going to give them to the extended family. That to me, that's too many because they got to talk to each one of them, and yet they're having a problem talking to them because they don't know how to really talk. None of them have ever been to school. None of them can really communicate very well at all. So they don't even know how to talk. I mean, it's just sad all the way around when you think about it. It is really sad. Hell, apparently they are refusing to give info to other family members. We are given very limited, without a doubt. Hell, I wonder if some are still in the hospital. Was just about to say that because apparently a couple were very, very ill. You're right, El. And I think some are still in the hospital. And you're right, everybody. Stuff like this does happen. Stuff like this happens all over. But it shouldn't happen. It should not happen at all. You know? But when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, man, it's very heartbreaking. Those kids didn't ask for this life. They didn't ask for this, in my opinion. None of them asked for this. And so that's the latest. They're still waiting on more information, but to live like that in a 12 by 8 or 12 by 10 room, and you guys seen pictures of the house, right? It's not that very big. It's not very big at all. God, it's just so sad. It is just so sad. It is sad that the children were being fed vegetable oil brought every day from a Dollar General before close, almost every night. Eggs. That's just so sad. No doubt about it. Well said, Doug. Eggs, vegetable oil, and diapers almost daily. It is said that they were being fed vegetable oil brought every day from Dollar General before close almost every night. They didn't ask for it. That's correct. They have no chance in life because of these people and their negligence, in my opinion, without a doubt, El. Without a doubt. It's just so disheartening, everybody. Very disheartening. Oh, Lord. Yeah. And this is what we see every day. Stuff like this is happening. Maybe not to this extreme, but it is happening. Sam says the sick, like 8.9 quart rice noodles, etc., would have fed them better. Sick parents, without a doubt, Sam. Well said. Dollar General employee did an interview and said that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's just so sad, everybody. I mean, you can't make this shit up. It's very frustrating because you do have a lot of people out there that want to have families, and yet because of physical ailments, they can't have families. And yet these people here are springing them out like every other year, every year. Yeah, it's going to be hard for these kids to even ever make it in life. They can't talk, so they're already behind the eight ball. How are they going to be able to communicate? How are they going to be able to interact with society? Man, it's going to take a lot of loving parents to adopt these kids and to really educate them and treat them and give them that love and nourishment that you're supposed to give kids in general, and especially to your own kids. You know, it's just saddens. It really saddens me big time. Thank you for all the great conversation. All right, everybody. Let's go ahead and wrap this up so you guys can jump on your other streams. Do me a favor, please go ahead and put our channel out there so that we can grow, because we're growing now. But with more people, we become smarter with other people also throwing in their opinions. I would really appreciate that if you could do that for me. And with that, everybody, I just want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you for always being here. Mods, thank you so much for everything you guys do. All of you. You guys are amazing. Doug says these poor kids will almost certainly not have any semblance of a normal life, without a doubt. Maybe the younger twins, hopefully, they all get a chance. No doubt about it. Well said, Doug. L, hope everyone has a good night. Thank you. Thank you, Double Dog and Pops. You got that right. Analyzed, Doug. Thank you so much, everybody. Once again, God bless you. Take care. We'll figure it out, because we always figure it out, because all of it is really common sense, everybody. A lot of this is common sense, you know. And with that, Semper Fi, everybody. God bless. Have a great night. See you tomorrow at 9.